Good afternoon, beautiful. It is so great to see you yet again for another live for the Incoming Papers Challenge. I'm excited to have you. Let's see, I want to make sure that this is actually shared to everybody. It looks like it is. Welcome, welcome. As you hop in, please hop over to the chat area in the comments and let me know who you are and where you're from. I see like Darlene and Margaret and Pam and Rhonda and several other people are already here, and it's so great to see each of you. Now, during this live, please use that comment area, whether you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, it doesn't matter. Use that area to enter all of your comments if you have any questions. The way that this will run, let me share this on my screen. Today, we are talking about gathering our supplies and all of the supplies that we need for our action file and a little bit about what the action file is very quickly as an overview. So what we'll do is I will start with the main information during this live and not answer the questions right away. But then once I've gone over the basic information, then I will answer all the questions that I see in the chat. If I missed your question, please ask it again. But please, I love to see each and every one of you, like Christy just joined and Tammy. Now, if you are here through the Facebook group and you do not see your name in the comments on the screen, I see we have a couple of comments that have popped up, and it just shows me Facebook users sometimes. If you want me to see your name, then if you can hop over to streamyard.com/Facebook and just grant access. Facebook blocks it from showing automatically, but that would be really helpful. So everybody who wants their name to show, if your name's missing, then please just hop over there and do that. All right, so I mentioned today is gather your supplies. This is the first day of the free Incoming Papers Challenge, and there are 5 days of the challenge. So this is going to be really exciting. Our goal throughout this challenge is to build what I call the action file. Now, this is one version of what the action file can look like. There we go. There are so many different ways this can look, though, and we will go over today what the important components are of the action file and how you can adapt this for your personality and your lifestyle. The reason we start with incoming papers is because no matter what your paper situation, whether you have everything pretty much organized and you just need a touch-up, or if you are drowning in papers to sort and old files in the file cabinet and you feel overwhelmed, it doesn't matter. First thing we need to do is make sure that nothing else adds to the problem. So the incoming papers are important to start with to make sure that they are not adding more to any of the piles in your home or to any of the stress levels. And so you don't lose anything important while you're going through your papers. Are you ready to get started? Fantastic. As I mentioned, today we are talking about the supplies. So I shared a supplies link. You can find it either in the units section of the home organizing challenges with Susanna K group on Facebook, or you can find it at this link. I also emailed it to you within your emails. This is the link to go to view the screen that I'm about to share with you. Now let's hop over. Let's see if it'll let me hop over. There we go. So when you go to this link, this is what you'll see. It's a web page that I created with links to some of the tools that I like to use and to give you some of your ideas. So the things that you will need for your action file are all listed on this page. Now, the reason it's called an action file is because instead of filing the incoming papers based on what they are, we're filing them based on what the action is that we will take with them. So for example, and we will go into these more in depth coming up soon, but just as an overview, some of the file folders will be named things like to do and to enter, to read, to scan, to file, things like that. And we can adapt them as much as we need to for your lifestyle, but each of these will be an action. So we don't need a lot of folders. We really want to make sure that we have 10 or fewer folders coming in to make our choices between, because if there are too many choices, then our brains get overwhelmed. And when our brains get overwhelmed, that's when things start ending up in a pile. That's when we procrastinate and it all just falls apart. So we want only a few choices. The first thing that we'll do, and I will make this Oh, I guess that's as big as I can make it, I think. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure to pick a container for our action file. You can see on this page, I have decorative options. I have some options that can go on the wall. And if none of these suit you, once you click on these links, there's actually more on the links. If none of these suit you, then you can also click the click to view options link, and that will take you to even more options. So once you click on these, I will show you, it will open up a screen that actually has links to, oh, sorry, I actually, being logged in as the administrator, I had to close some of the windows that it pops up for me. But it will open up my action file supply kit list. This will give you links to some various options that you can get straight through Amazon. If there's ever anything off of Amazon that I want to link to, I also use this. So if you were to click the link underneath the image, then it would take you to that product on Amazon. Now, I will say that these are affiliate links. So if you do click on these links, then I will get, if you click on them and make a purchase of them through the link, then I will get a small commission, but it won't change the price you pay. You don't have to buy any of your supplies through these links though. One of the great things is about this type of system is when you open it up, then you can see all of the details about that product and then find something that fits for you. If you don't want to purchase through the link, you don't have to, but it has everything there for you. So let's go back to that main page. First, we're deciding on our container. Now, one of my favorites is my gold container because it's nice and sturdy. I like to choose a container that has a small opening on the top, probably about 7 inches at the most, because I only want to hold about 10 file folders and I want there to be enough space between them. So small opening, about 7 inches across. I like to make sure that it will hold the hanging file folders, because that makes it so much easier when you come into the house with a handful of groceries and the dogs are barking, and if you have kids and they're running around, struggling with lids, struggling with folders that are falling down or accordion files just makes it really difficult. But if they're hanging file folders, then it's easy to just quickly flip open the file folder and drop in what you need to drop in. So it makes it a lot easier. Also, one of the things that I do like about this one is it has little hangers, so you can hang this on the wall if you wanted to as well. It does not have to sit on the surface. But this is one of my favorites. It's nice and sturdy, but you want it to be the size of a hanging file, have the rails, and have the opening. Now let's look at some other options that we do have though. If you do not love or do not have space for something that would sit on a surface, let me see if I can switch this around. I should have actually probably done this a little bit differently, but that's okay. All right. Live and learn, right? Okay, so I'm going to show you in this part of my office, I have a little example set up of some of the ways that you can set up your action file. So one of the ways that I like to do it, let's get it closer. Pardon the noise. You can have it sit on a small table if you'd like, but one of the containers that I enjoy also, and I don't have a link to this one right now, they were sold on Amazon, but this is just through 31, and it's the 31 fold-in file, and I add little railings to it. So if you want something that's cute and decorative, there are some options on the list that I gave you. Also, the 31 has some options. If you do get the one from 31, I usually go to the dollar store and grab some of these report covers, because those little rails are what I use. Theirs does not have a hard rail, so I just cut it down and slide it onto the rail area, so that way my hanging files can be held. But I do like that it has pockets for my supplies. So that's an option as far as containers. But also you'll see here on the wall, what I have on the wall are 2 different options. I have the clear pockets and I have the cloth pockets, and I'll bring them closer to you. So the cloth pockets, this can hang on the back of a door. It comes with hooks. You don't have to buy this exact style, but if you were to get something with the hanging pockets, then you could do something like this. And this is the one time that I would say you would use file folders that are not hanging. So you can just use the regular file folders. They can be pretty. I tend to like things to be pretty. They can be the plain manila, whatever works for you. But try to make sure that you have at least, I would say, try to have at least 8 pockets. But once you've decided what your categories are later this week, you can decide how many pockets you need. But this just has the rivets. I like to put nails in the wall and hang this right on the wall, but you don't have to. It's completely up to you. And then on the bottom, I like to make sure that they have wide enough pockets that I can slide in some supplies. Now, the other option, if you're very, very visual and you want to be able to see through it, I have the clear pockets. So these, and I believe there's a link for these also so you can see what I'm talking about. But these are just clear plastic. I like to use my decorative folders in them, but they link together. So if I were to take them apart, I can just unhook them and they can each be individually placed. As you can see, they're clear. If you wanted to be able to see that you have papers inside and what they are, you don't have to use the folders. I like the folders so that I don't have to try to reach in to grab papers and it looks just a little neater, but you absolutely don't have to. So that is the cascading clear file holders. So as you can see, there are several options for file holders. Whatever you choose though, just choose something that works for you. Let me sit down so you can see me better again. But just choose something that would work best for your lifestyle and your personality. Now, I do say try not to use the really, really big holders if you can avoid it, because they're going to be awkward. They're going to take up a lot more space than you need. And you don't want to be inclined to add more than your 10 file folders, because that's when, like I mentioned, the more choices you have, the more our brains break down. Really quickly also, if you do not have your supplies yet, then that is absolutely okay. You can either repurpose a plastic bin that you already have, or you can even just for this week, use a regular box. Find a box from anywhere. You know, I like to fold in the flaps. Grab some file folders, and just for now, you can use the box with the file folders in it. Label your file folders. If you need to, you can throw, just grab a book to put in the bottom of the box to hold those file folders up so they don't slide down. But this will work until you get your supplies. And then once you have your supplies, then you can just transition over. Don't let not having your supplies stop you. That's a really, really big one, because you can still move forward with this without having the supplies. I see a comment about, Susanna, can you make your screen bigger for what we should be looking at? Actually, the main thing that you should be seeing is, I guess I can hopefully do this. It kind of helps. But there you go, a little bit bigger. So this was the 31 bin. And these were the clear bins. They nest inside of each other, but you can hang them individually on the wall or nested under each other. And you can take the folders in and out if you want them to be completely clear. Or this was your wall bin. So sorry, you're right. It was kind of small with the shared screen, but there you go. Hopefully that helps. So that is the containers. Those are the containers. As far as what's going to go inside of the containers, I also have, and let me, oops, pop that back on. I also have under your bin. So step 1, it says hold your files. You just pick one. You don't need more than one container. Step 2, you're going to choose your file folders. So you can pick the hanging file folders, which I mentioned is what I prefer. You can also choose the ones, if you're using a wall file, the ones that just have the tab. And then step 3, these are the optional supplies. So these are the supplies that are just going to make it a little bit more streamlined and so that you'll have everything that you need at your fingertips. So let's look at a few of these. First off, one of the things I say, I like to have a stapler or at least paper clips or binder clips nearby. I prefer a stapler because it never fails that with paper clips, one paper gets accidentally pushed against another paper and into its paper clip, and then you can easily lose the paper. So I do prefer a stapler, but it is completely up to you. And then I like to have a pencil pouch, whatever size, whatever pattern you like. I just put one of my favorites up on the screen with the links, but a pencil pouch is really helpful. I like to have erasable pens. You can use a pencil, you can use a regular pen if you want to, but these are the friction erasable pens that I happen to absolutely love and use all the time. You'll want to grab yourself some Post-it notes. So that way, if there's a note that you need to make on some incoming papers, then you can quickly jot a note, stick your Post-it onto the paper so you don't forget what you plan to do with that paper. A lot of times when we have a to-do item, we throw the paper into the pile to do, but then we forget what it was that we wanted to do. So it takes us a while to think about what it was, especially if it's something to buy. Maybe we're thinking about a gift for somebody. Well, if you don't write either on the paper or on a Post-it who it's for, then you will probably forget who you were thinking of. And it just will absolutely waste your brain space. Now, an optional supply, but one that I do love, is a label maker. I put one of my favorites in the link for you. I do like to have a label maker. When you label things with printed text, it just makes it a whole lot easier for your brain to read all of the different file labels. You don't have to have a label maker though, that's just a preference. One thing I do highly, highly recommend is a shredder though. A shredder is essential, whether you use a desktop shredder, a stand-up shredder. If you burn your papers, that's absolutely okay. That does the same function. You just need to make sure that you have something that does the function of a shredder. Even if it's a Sharpie or blackout ink or one of those shredding scissors where it cuts into little tiny pieces, however you're going to do it, even if you just have a big bucket of water that's going to turn the papers into mush, that's okay too. But I always put my shredder right next to my action file. This one's my shredder. And I have a nice, strong, heavy-duty one simply because I don't want to mess with it. I want it to, shred and be done and be super easy to empty and super easy to just pop it in. So I just leave it plugged in and I can shred as soon as something comes into shred. Now, if it's not possible to put your shredder near your action file, we will talk later this week about adding extra custom file folders. And one of those can be a to shred or to burn file. So if you don't shred because you prefer to burn, or if you don't have a shredder nearby, then you can probably just create a to shred or to burn, to destroy, whatever you want to call it, file. And then, of course, we have a recycle bin for all of that junk mail that does not need to be shred, or at least the portions of it that don't need to be shred. So those are the main supplies that are really, really helpful for your action file. There are a couple of unique supplies that I also add. If you are a bill payer by hand, if you still handwrite checks, or if you tend to have a lot of correspondence through the mail, one of the other things that I do like to throw in is return address stamp or your return address stickers, checkbook, so that you can just write out your check right then next to your action file, some envelopes, some stamps, so that you have everything that you need to be able to pop it right back into the mail. One other thing that I do like to have is also, if you are the type who likes to scan your paperwork, I love to scan it. We will talk later this week about scanning really quickly as well. This is not about being paperless this week, but sometimes we do want to just scan something so we have that backup. I have a stamp that stamps things as scanned. It's not a very good top picture, but that way, as soon as you scan the paper, I use my phone app, which we'll talk about later, the Genius Scan app, and I scan it. Then I can just mark it as scanned. And then I know when I file it that it's scanned, and I don't have to worry about whether or not it's been scanned, because that's one of the frustrating parts, is if you're not sure if you've scanned it or not, then it just leaves you a little bit confused and uncertain. So those are the supplies for this week. Like I mentioned, if you don't have some of the supplies yet, that's okay. Make do with what you have. A lot of these you probably already have at home, so you don't even need to buy anything new. But the point is to get going. So if you create a temporary action file for the week, that's absolutely fine too. It's completely valid. I just want you to get moving and get started. So I hope that that helps. A few other things that I did want to share with you really quickly before I go on to answering the questions. I would love to see you post in the Facebook group this week. Especially today, I would love to see what supplies you've chosen. I'd love to see what you've chosen for your container. I'd love to see all the fun containers that people choose. I'd love to see what type of shredder you have. So head over to the Facebook group, the Home Organizing Challenges with Susanna K group, and post in there. Also, in the unit section, if you did not already hear me say this, over in the Facebook group, that unit section is the best place. Let me make this as big as I can. It is the best place to be able to find anything about the challenge that you may have missed, any of the announcements. If you're on the new Facebook on your computer, then it's going to be there. If you're on the classic Facebook, it'll be on the left-hand side. But that's a perfect place to find all of the announcements, all of the day's tasks. It won't have as much information as the emails. So if you're not getting the emails, please email me at hello@SparkOrganizing. But this will give you whatever you may have missed so far. And also we have the FAQ page. So in that unit section, there's also the FAQ page link. The FAQ page is a great place to find whatever questions and answers you possibly need answered. If you don't see it there, there's also a link to my email address. So hopefully I have everything that you need absolutely covered for you. All right, well, that was a lot. I know that that was a whole lot. So let me go through the chat. I see so many people have hopped on and it's absolutely beautiful. I think we've got 194 people between Facebook and YouTube right now who are on. So this might take me a second, but I see so many people. I see Lori's on and Ruth and Valerie and several people. Let's see what Jana said. Okay, Jana asked a great question. How would you suggest dealing with incoming papers for separate people? Should I merge all the bills together or have two bills files, one for me and one for mom? It depends on how many papers you have for each person. Sometimes just having a bills to pay mom and a to pay me file folder in your action file is fine. If there are a lot of papers, then sometimes having two separate action files that look different, maybe one that's bright blue and one that's bright red or whatever your favorite colors are next to each other. And one's for you, one's for mom. I know when you're a caregiver, then there can be a whole lot that comes in, and we'll talk about some of the special folders that might be useful for caregivers as well. But that's a great question. If there are a lot of papers, I would do two separate action files, one for each of you. If there are only a few or only one or two categories that are the same, you can probably get away with just an extra file folder for them. You can merge them into one if you tend to pay both of yours at the same time, and that won't confuse you. I know me, sometimes my brain just needs the categories. I compartmentalize things sometimes, so I really need it. Let's see what else we have. Okay, so Natalie says that she just happened upon the live. How do you sign up to get the presentation with clickable links to the file folders? That is in the Facebook unit section. You will see that there's a link to the supplies. Also within your emails, that first email that you got and today's email with the day one step, I believe both have the supplies link. If you just joined the challenge, then when you join and you've confirmed your email, then that welcome email will have the link for you. So I hope that that answers your question, Natalie. Good one. Let's see. Valerie asks, is the desk file holder plastic? If you're talking about this one is a metal file. The 31 version and there's one on the list that's similar. This is a fabric. So good question. But you can use a plastic one. If you tend to, I saw somebody in the group RVs, they got one with handles. If you did need something that has handles, then feel free to get one with handles. What I would do is whenever it's in its place, make sure that the lids stay open. So get one where either the lids fold all the way down, or that you can take the lid off, or that there's no lid, because having a lid does slow things down when you're in a really big rush, and you'll find that you'll just start adding to piles instead. But that's one option as well. All right, that was from Valerie. Let's see. So Darlene asks if there should be a separate one for business use and personal use. If you work from home and you want to keep your business and personal papers separate, and you do have a lot of papers for both, then absolutely, you can have two. I know I do, because I work from home and there are a decent number of incoming papers that come in, or at least there used to be. I'm probably about to phase it out because there aren't as many anymore, thank goodness. But you don't have to. You can always have a, business to do, personal to do within the same action file. Just make sure that there are 10 or fewer folders. If it would push you over 10, then I would say do a separate file. And Ruth, that's fantastic. Ruth says that she does not get a lot of paper mail. 95% of her bills come by email. That is wonderful. I still have an action file, even though I really don't get a whole lot of paper mail. There's still incoming papers and notes to myself and random things that I pull out of magazines and things like that I still put right into my action file, which we'll cover again later this week. We're going to go much more in depth. So keep watching this week. You may or may not want an action file. You might even want just one of those wall files with maybe 3 or 4 options, whatever works for you, but check it out and see if you can adapt it for yourself. So I hope that helps. Oh, great. And my assistant, Stephanie, actually shared the links. Here we go. Susan says, tell us again what the Facebook page is. She searched several things, but is not finding it. The Facebook page is the Home Organizing Challenges page. Let's see if I can put that back up on the screen and so that you can actually see it. So it will look like this. Oops. Let me see if I can actually share it. There we go. It will look like this. It is called the Home Organizing Challenges with Susanna K. And there's our link for it if you wanted to use that link and type it in, or you could type in Home Organizing in Facebook and select groups as a filter, and it should come up. And that's what you're going to see at the top. It'll probably say starting now instead of starts Monday at the top, but it's going to look similar to that. So there we go. Great, Susan. Thank you for asking that. And I think, am I caught up? Oh, there we go. Why are your file boxes small? How many hanging files will we need this week? Great question, Linda. So you will have 10 or fewer file folders within your action file. And I'm going to go much more in depth about that, I believe tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow that we're going much more in depth about how this actually works. And we're going to build our file with all of our supplies, and I'll explain the tabs. But since this is based on the actions, not on what type of paper it is, you want 10 or fewer, and also that's going to help you with keeping your brain from just getting overwhelmed and make it an easier system to keep up with. All right, if you have any other questions, then please let me know in the comments. I'm reading the last few here. Let's see, is your Thursday Facebook Live on this Facebook also? Because I have trouble finding that. We have a live this week will be today, Wednesday, and Friday. We will not have a live on Thursday or on Tuesday. Tuesday and Thursday will be pre-recorded, and all of these will be in the Facebook units section as well as emailed to you. If you're registered for the challenge, you'll get the email with the link to either the pre-recorded video or the live to join the live. But also that Facebook units section is the place to go if you're missing out on anything and can't find something. So check that out. And I hope that helps. Let's see. Lori says, we attend a lot of social justice meetings and get lots of paper from these. How would you suggest keeping these separated by group, as we need to refer these papers at various times? Can you ask me again when we're talking about how to use the action file, because that's going to go much more in depth about what to label your different file folders. It's a really good question though, but that would probably take me a bit longer to answer. And we're going to be covering that later this week. So, and hopefully I'm going to try to remember to add that to that video as well. what do I do with thick paper, incoming packages, another box? If it's a package itself, that's not actually papers, then it would not go in your action file. I would say just take care of that right away. If it's a thick booklet or something like that, then it should fit within your action file. It's just going to fill up your action file a little bit faster, which is not a bad thing. It just means that you'll have to file some things faster. Oh, I see. Darlene says, Sarli, your weekly live on Thursdays. I no longer have a weekly live. I see that there are some videos that are reposted from back when I did do a weekly live. Now I just do them occasionally, but not on a specific schedule anymore. I hope that answers your question, but I think that's probably from one of the live videos that we reposted recently. I totally forgot. That's a great blast from the past. Perfect. Natalie says that she found it and just signed up. Perfect. Marianne asks if you will have emptied your file cabinets by the end of the week. No, we are not working on file cabinets this week. We are only working on capturing that incoming mail because we want to stop the flow from adding to any of those problems. But I will say that during the Wednesday live, Wednesday evening, I will be sharing a new resource I have that will cover the rest of your papers. So how to sort your papers, even if you have an entire storage unit of papers to sort, how you can get those sorted, how to set up your file cabinet, how to keep it maintained, what to do with all the special papers such as recipes and receipts and coupons and greeting cards. All of that will be covered in this resource that I'm sharing. It's called the Paper Path membership. And I will announce that it's officially going to open Wednesday evening, and you can hear more about that on the Wednesday night live or watch that during the replay. So that's a great question, Marianne. Thanks for asking. Awesome. Well, I think that I got all of the questions. If there are any more questions, then please pop them into the comments right now. But it has been so nice seeing every single one of you today. And just a reminder, please post in the Facebook group as well. I would love to see all of your different supplies that you pick for the week. I would love to see your progress. I would love to see your before and afters. And it's a great place to just encourage each other. Make sure to say some nice things to each other. Share what you're going through, because with it being a private group and a very non-judgmental group, we are all in this together and we can relate. So post, comment on each other's posts and encourage the heck out of each other. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the group. It's going to be so much fun. And you're so welcome, Marianne. That's why I created the membership, because it's way too much to fit into a challenge. But I want to make sure that everybody has whatever section they need covered. Well, I will see you all very soon. Our next live is on Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern. There will be a link shared in the Facebook units section before the live. And you can find it there. You will also receive the link in your email if you're registered. If you have any problems, I see that somebody has a problem that they're registered but not getting the emails. Do me a favor. I'm posting, let me see, I will share on the screen my email address, hopefully, if I can find it. There we go. So if you're having any troubles at all with receiving the emails, first off, make sure that you're registered. You can register at myhomechallenges.live/join the challenge. This is also in the group within that unit section. Then you can find that. I think it's also in the description of this post as well. So if you go to that description, it's there. But also, if you have any trouble at all and you're registered and still not getting the emails, please shoot me an email at hello@sparkorganizing.com. That way I can research it for you. We can try to figure out what's going on. If you're missing anything at all, that is the place to reach myself and my team. And I had a question about a scanner. We will talk about scanning a little bit later this week. I can tell you that my favorite scanning app is Genius Scan, but I'm not going to go into that too much right now. So that's a good one to ask either off the live or next week. And great. Nan asks, why do I keep getting StreamYard emails? I'm not positive. I don't send any emails from StreamYard, so I'm not sure if maybe you happen to sign up for something through StreamYard. I'm not positive about that one. I'm so sorry, but I'm not associated with StreamYard besides using them to do our lives. But there we go. I will see all of you later today. Please, please post in the group all of your supplies. I want to see, especially the containers. I love to see what you choose. And you are going to do absolutely amazing this week. By the end of the week, you will have an action file that is up and running and working really, really well for you without spending a whole lot of time each day to do it. So I am really looking forward to seeing you over in the group, and I will talk to you very, very soon. I love you so much and have an amazing day. Goodbye.